Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be working on our February setup, and for the month of February I decided to go with an incredibly delicious theme of pizza. It wasn't completely unrelated to the month. Obviously February is the month of hearts, it's the month of pink themes, so I decided it was a little bit too obvious to go with anything like that. So we are going with pizza because the 9th of February is actually the National Day of Pizza. As you can see here, I am working on my regular cover page with just drawing some doodles of mushrooms, of tomatoes, olives, some leaves, and in general just doodles of pizza. I've been using the markers this time instead of the gouache paint because I felt like I've been doing a little bit too many drawings with paint and I wanted to switch up the medium a little bit. It was quite nice to work with the markers. It was definitely a bit easier than to work with the paints and a bit harder at the same time, but I definitely enjoyed those. Also this month I've decided to add a little bit of borders on the pages just to make it a little bit smaller and a little bit more centered to the middle of the page. And in the end of all the doodles I decided to outline to again give them a little bit more finished look and a little bit more understanding what actually it is, because to be honest the mushrooms turned out a little bit like blobs of color. And moving on from the cover page we are going to our quote page. Even though I thought that I was doing a little bit too many drawings, I went with a massive drawing for my quote page of a famous meme with the Spider-Man, because obviously when I think of pizza, one of the first things I think of is Spider-Man. So here we have a drawing of a Spider-Man. I did mess up the location of the journal a little bit. I'm gonna be fixing it in a couple of minutes. But for the outline, I just used my simple outliner and then obviously colored it in with the markers. Working on Spider-Man was pretty difficult for me personally because I am not really good at drawing people, but I'm honestly pretty happy with the way it turned out. I did a little bit more work on the shading, on the general shape. I took a long time to draw the basic sketch, so I am I can say I'm pretty happy with how it looks in the end. With the famous words, it's pizza time. Let's move on to our calendar and our trackers. This month is obviously a little bit shorter than usually, and I decided to switch up the calendar and trackers look a little bit more. I did mess up the calendar for a bit. I will be trying to fix it a little bit later. As for the decoration, I've also drew a little bit of doodles for pizza toppings like mushrooms, tomatoes, olives, both green and black, and some little leaves, and that is it. And here you can see I already found out the mistake I've made. I've tried to fix it, but honestly I feel like I've done it a little bit worse than it was before. I'm trying to fix it with my white marker, but I think it's a little bit too dry at this point. So later on I will just go over it with my white gouache paint and just try to cover it a little bit more. For the space at the bottom of the calendar, it was a bit empty. Initially I was planning to draw a couple of doodles of big pizzas, but I decided to use it a bit more, and I just made a section for important dates where I can write about 3, 6, however many important dates in February I need. On the right side of the page I've done my habit trackers, which was a little bit more tedious and with a lot more mistakes than I initially planned. I did mess up quite often, and very late I realized that I didn't really need to make all these calendars this month because I had my big calendar on the left, but I've already started, so I didn't really feel like switching it up at this point. For the bottom of the page I did my mood tracker with 28 little tomatoes, and I will be coloring them in according to my mood, where red tomato is going to be the best, green tomato is going to be medium, and yellow tomato is going to be not the best mood. To add a little bit more color, I drew the headlines for the habit trackers, and that's almost it. Just drawing a little bit of the tips for tomatoes and numbers to make sure I didn't mess up the quantity of the tomatoes this time, but everything seems to be exactly as I planned. Adding a little bit more doodles to the habit tracker, definitely added more character, and that's about it. This month's spread is very small, but I am really happy how it looks like. It definitely looks out of my comfort zone and out of my style, but I am really happy with the way it looks like. Thank you so much for watching this video. Hope to see you very soon.